Hey guys, this is Mr. Grice for Algebra 2 Unit 5.6 review. You guys ready? Test is tomorrow. Okay, so identify the important characteristics of the polynomial. So the first thing that we're looking at is the degree. And the degree, we look for the highest exponent. Now, don't just sit there and go, oh, it's 3. What does that mean? Is it linear? Is it quadratic? Is it cubic? Is it quartic? Is it quintic? And it is cubic. Good. Okay. Now, my leading coefficient that goes with that is 5. Now, my max number of zeros matches my degree. Okay. I'm not saying there are 3 zeros in this function. I'm just saying that the most it could have is 3. The max number of turns it could have, we've talked about, well, it's just one less, or remembering that a cubic is a S shape, so it could either look like this, or it could look like this. And if you can see in both of those, there are 2 turns. Now, to figure out our right end behavior, we need to look at our leading coefficient, okay? Since our leading coefficient is positive, that tells me that the right end behavior rises. And if my right end behavior rises, that means my left side, I'm going to erase it because that's not the right one, falls. Okay? All right, number 2. I don't like how this is all out of order, so what I do to the side, or just directly underneath, I put it in order. So it's the negative 2x to the 4th plus 3x plus 8. So it's a little easier to see that my degree is 4, and 4 means that it's quartic. Okay, I don't know what's going on right there. So here we go, quartic. All right, so the quartic either look like this, it's a positive, or a negative. Okay, now for here, my leading coefficient is a negative 2. So if it's a negative 2, that means it's going to be going down. My max number of zeros is the same, it's 4. The max number of curves, you can either come here and count them, 1, 2, 3, or you can just remember that it's 4 minus 1, which I think you can handle without a calculator. My right end behavior and my left end behavior are the exact same because it's even and it is a negative coefficient, so that means it's going to be falling. Sorry guys, I'm sucking on a cough drop. Okay, now, number 3. These are the ones that people have just a little bit of trouble with. Okay, now the first thing I'm noticing is that it's cubic. Okay, I can tell that 2 different reasons. I can look at my leading coefficient, see the exponent. Oh, it's 3, so it's cubed. Okay, there are 2 terms in it. There are 3 zeros or 3 X-intercepts. Okay, so domain is your X values, and it goes from negative infinity to positive infinity. My range is actually the same because my left end, it's going down, and my right side is going up. So yeah, that gives me a range of negative infinity to positive infinity. My local maxima, that where it goes from increasing to decreasing, which is this point right here. We talked about in class how we want you to write that point right above it so you see it. And that looks like it's at 0.2 comma 4.1. Okay, this is my max. Okay, so the max goes from high to low, and my min goes from the low to high. So my min right here, we'll say that that is just a little past 3. And that looks like it's 3.1, and then it's going down to -2. Okay, so 3.1 comma -2. Now where is it increasing? Well, the parts that our graph is increasing, oh, let's get the right ones. I'm increasing here, and then all of a sudden it's going down, and then goes up. So the blue parts where it's increasing is from -infinity to 0.2. There's a break, and then from 3.1 to +infinity. Okay, now there's only one spot where it's falling, and that's that pink section right in the middle, and it's falling from 0.2 to 3.1. Okay, X-intercepts, guys, X-intercepts, all we do is look at where does your graph cross the x-axis, okay? And that's at -1, 0, 2, 0, and 4, 0. My y-intercept, where it crosses the y-axis, all the way up there in purple, that is the point 0, 4. Okay? So the next part is saying, where is your graph greater than 0? So I've drawn the line right here. You can take a sheet of paper to cover it up so you're not looking at that part. But where I am greater than 0, I start being greater than 0 from -1 to 2, and then from 4 to +infinity. So we would say the first part from -1 to 2, and there's a break, and then it picks up again from 4 to +infinity. For the less than 0, I'm covering this portion up. Now I'm only going to look at what's below. And the portions that are below, we start being below at -infinity to -1. There's a break, and then from 2 to 4. Okay, and the last two questions, just looking at the graph, the left end behavior is where we are falling, and the right end behavior is where we are rising. Okay. All right, so number 4, we've got our equation right there. I don't know if you guys want to pause the video and try some of it on your own. I don't know, what do you guys think? Well, go ahead, try to pause it. Otherwise, I'm just going to talk about it. Okay, so our domain is -infinity to +infinity. Now my range, it's not going in both directions, okay? Both sides of my graph are going up. So I have to try to find the lowest point, and that's right there. That's where our graph begins. All right, and I'd say that that's right about -1, 2, 3, -3.2. Okay, so from -3.2 all the way to +infinity. Okay, my local max is right here. Okay, remember the max goes from your increasing to your decreasing. and I'd say that that is right about 0.2, 4.1. Okay, this is our local max, 0.2, 4.1. Now our other ones, we're trying to find the minimums, and the minimums are where it goes from low to high. Okay, we have two of them. Our first one is, let's see, here's -1, -1.5. It's just a little past that, so -1.6. And that's -1.6 and -0.7, -0.8, right around there. And then our other one, we already talked about that this was, the y value is -3.2, but then the x value is 2.3. Okay, so we just go ahead and write those down, -1.6, -0.7, and then 2.3, -3.2. Okay, so where is the graph increasing? Well, it's increasing from here and here. So those two portions, we look at the x values, so the -1.6 to 0.2. Then there's a break, and then from 2.3 to positive infinity. Okay. Where are we decreasing? Well, we're decreasing from here and from here. Okay. So my decreasing from negative infinity to -1.6. Remember, all I'm doing is I'm using the x values that are already written down. Okay. And then from 0.2 to 2.3. All right, next we are going to find the intercepts. My x-intercepts, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 x-intercepts. And those are at -2, 0. They're at -1, 0, 1, 0, and 3, 0. My y-intercept right here, I know it's very close to that local max, but it's not. I'd say that that is right about 0, 1.5. Okay. Looking at our values for when it is greater than 0. Okay. 1, 2, 3. There are 3 times it is greater than 0. It's greater than 0 from negative infinity to -2. From from -1 to +1. And then from 3 to positive infinity. Okay. For the next part, when is it below? Okay, well, it is below at 2 different points, and that's from -2 to -1, and then from +1 to +3. Okay, you can start to see where one ends, the other begins. Where I end, I begin. Where I end, I begin. Where I end, I begin. Okay, it's going to go back and forth because it's either above 0 or it's less than 0. Okay? And then my left end behavior for both of these, my left end and my right end behavior, it is rising. Okay, Number 5, you guys are all on your own. Go ahead and pause that video and good luck. Okay, and there you go. So remember, as long as with the points, as long as you're within like 0.7 or 0.9 over here, within a point or two of these guys, that's about as close as you can be. Okay? All right, now the bottom. So we need to draw and describe a quartic function. Okay, so it's got to be quartic with 4 distinct zeros that has a negative coefficient. All right, well, if it's quartic, that means it's x to the 4th. It has 3 terms, and it's either going to be going up or going down. Okay, so as I'm writing over here, I'm going to say that a quartic function has a max of 3 terms. Okay, now 4 distinct zeros, that means that I have to have 4 X-intercepts. So as I'm getting ready to graph it, wherever I decide, I'm just doing 4 because I know it's got to have 4 X-intercepts. Okay, so 4 distinct zeros means it has 4 X-intercepts. Okay, and now that last part, a negative leading coefficient, if it's got a negative leading coefficient, that means my right-end behavior is going to fall. Okay, so a negative leading coefficient means the right end behavior will fall. Okay, so now that I kind of know what it looks like, I have to be falling down here, and so that kind of helps me figure out the rest of the graph. Okay, now it doesn't have to look exactly like mine. Okay, your guys's can come up really high, do a quick little one, come up even higher. Okay, you can have your X-intercepts somewhere else. It doesn't matter. All right, I'm just going to make this look a little bit nicer now. There we go. You can see my 4 X-intercepts, my 3 turns. There's 1, there's turn 2, and turn 3. And you can see that I'm falling and falling. Okay. All right, number 7. It's got to be a cubic function with 1 distinct real zero that has a positive leading coefficient. So if it's cubic, that means it's x cubed and it's got 1 less turn. So it's got 2 turns. Those are the guys that look like the S's. Now, I only have 1 distinct zero. So that means there's only 1 X-intercept. A positive leading coefficient, well, that means that my right side rises. okay? And if I'm looking at my two pictures, this is the one where the right side rises. So my graph has to look something like that, okay? Now, here we go. I'm going to go ahead and write my sentences first. So the first thing we're talking about is the cubic function. A cubic function has two terms. Boom, that's all we really got to write. One distinct real zero means it touches the x-axis one time, or it has one x-intercept. I'm just trying to mix up how I write things, okay? And then the last one, since the leading, oh, sorry, I'm writing this in the wrong color. Mr. Grice, you can't do that. I know, that's why I'm changing it. That really bugs me. Okay, so since the leading coefficient is positive, the right end sorry guys, my pen is just going nuts right now. So my right end behavior is rising. Okay, so as I do this, I can go, oh, actually I can't do that because if I look at it, now it's got 2. I can't do that. So I know that I need to start down low, crosses once, and whoop, nope, just once. And there we go. If you notice, I only have one x-intercept. I've got 1, 2 turns. My right side is rising, so that means my left side is falling. And that's it. I know some of it can get confusing, but you really got to know your definitions for that part of the review and that part of the quiz that's coming up tomorrow. Okay? Well, guys, that's it for Algebra 2, Unit 5.6 review. If you have any questions, please come see Ms. Carranza or myself. We would love to help you out. Otherwise, this is Mr. Grice signing off. Thanks for watching.